And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First line weather graphic for Wednesday morning. IFR here, Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast. Marginal VFR over most of the western interior areas, and a band of IFR here, Kodiak Island, sliding right up along the Alaska Range. North of the mountains, though, VFR into the Yukon Flats, the upper Tanana Valley area. Another batch of IFR here right along the Prince William Sound area down toward Resurrection Bay, with a bigger area here in the Gulf of Alaska. The southeast coast stays VFR. And for the afternoon, suddenly a big area of IFR appears out here over the Bering Sea, coming right on up to the southwest coast and extending down to the western Aleutians there, and also through the Bering Strait into the northwest coast, linking up with that IFR for the Brooks Range and out to the Arctic coast and beyond. Marginal VFR, central western interior, IFR lingering here along the western Alaska Range, down in across Iliamna Lake and the Barren Islands there, Kodiak Island IFR, as well as the eastern Kenai Peninsula and the North Gulf Coast. Southeast coast stays VFR. And then for Thursday morning, a lot of IFR here now from the Arctic Ocean right on down through the interior to Kodiak Island, and that extends eastward across the southern Kenai Peninsula there on up into Passage Canal, possibly eastern Turnagain Arm, as well as Prince William Sound. And now that spreads into the northern panhandle with IFR along the central and south coast. And mostly IFR out over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. And for the afternoon hours, a lot of IFR here now from the Koyukuk Valley, Koyukuk Valley's northward, so south of the Brooks Range, now extending back to the Arctic coast. IFR still here, central western Alaska Range, marginal VFR for Susitna, Manuska Valley, Cook Inlet, western Kenai Peninsula. East side, though, North Gulf Coast to Yakutat, IFR here from the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula to the Pribilofs into the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta area and still through the Bering Strait. And a little bit of a break, but not much, just marginal VFR central eastern Aleutians with more IFR spreading into the far southwestern Bering Sea and Shimiatu area. Southeast coast becomes VFR, especially over the inside channels. And for Anatuvik Pass tomorrow, IFR, another IFR day for Adigan as well. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR flying for both those passes. Rainy, same forecast, IFR. And for windy, IFR in the southern entrance, otherwise marginal VFR, and possible VFR out the north side there. And for Isabel, marginal VFR, lowest on the southern approach. And for Mentasta, VFR, occasional marginal VFR at times for Tanita. Portage, IFR, Chilkoot and White, another VFR day there for both those passes. Freezing levels, 2,000 feet here up over the north slope, down into the northwest coast and sloping up to about 8,000 to 10,000 feet here into the Gulf of Alaska. A little bit warmer here over Bristol Bay with 10,000 feet. Even warmer yet for the southeast coast. Freezing levels there, 12,000 to 14,000 feet. And for icing, with that weakening front sliding eastward, still the bulk of the moisture up here to the north. So that's where the biggest area, considerable moderate rime icing, will be found here from just about out to the eastern Arctic coast, right on down across the Brooks Range into the northern Koyukuk Valley. And then some of that extending southward here as that front edges eastward and brings icing threats, increasing icing threats here across south central Alaska. Otherwise, icing free to the west and icing free here over the eastern or the southeast interior, right on down the southeast coast. And for the jet stream, trough low pressure here over the eastern Bering Sea, southwest flow anywhere from 65 to 85 knots over the interior, as high as 100 knots there for Bristol Bay, lighter over the southeast coast. And then back to the west, generally north to south flow here on the west side of this trough axis, anywhere from 65 to 120 knots. And for 9,000 feet, same sort of pattern here, trough, basically a trough axis right through this area. North winds at 35 knots over the west central Bering Sea, And to the east, the stronger winds out of the southwest cutting across central and eastern interior here, anywhere from 35 knots there near Kodiak Island to 55 knots as they blow into the Tanana Valley, and also some southwesterlies at 35 knots over the northern panhandle. And for 3,000 feet, we've got light winds here for the eastern Gulf into the southeast coast. Otherwise, south to southeasterlies as high as 50 knots here coming into the Barren Islands, southern Cook Inlet area, and south diminishing to 25 knots there near the mid-Yukon River Valley areas. Northerlies here, 25 to 30 knots there from the northwest coast actually. Point Hope, Cape Lisburne to Kivalina, right on down toward Nunivak Island. Eastern Bering Sea, though, much lighter winds, and then a narrow band of 20 to 30 knot winds here over the west central Bering. And for turbulence, possible light to isolated moderate turbulence for Adak and Atka. And for the interior here, we're looking at considerable moderate turbulence for the central western Alaska Range, most of south central Alaska, all the way down across the Barren Islands into near Iliamna Lake area there, Kamishak Bay, Fognak Island, and also for the Cape Lisburne Point Hope area, as well as the Bering Strait coast.